Get your rub on with Addicted.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing good. I'm going to put my phone on my tripod so that way I don't have to hold it the whole time. Maybe we'll go in. Maybe. Technical difficulties. Well, we're hold it. Try one more time.
You're making me dizzy. You're making me dizzy, man.
I'm trying to put it phone. There we go. So I don't have to hold it the whole time. So, you ready to get started? First off, thank you for coming on to our show tonight. Talk a little Q.
Thanks for having me, bud.
Where the show is sponsored by King Louie's Meat Apostles. Thank you for sponsoring us and allowing us to do this show. So first off, tell us your name and your team's name.
My name is Brian Calhoun, and I cook. My team is Weez's Groovin BBQ.
So where did the name come from?
So when I was in high school, my brother had a group of friends that I would say they were the stoners, but they were, the outcasts, and they all had names for each other. And my brother's nickname was Roach, and we had a guy named Troll and Orange and Tangerine. They all had weird names. And when I came to live with my grandparents and started going to school and met my brother's friends, they said I was a little weasel. So they nicknamed me Weez, and it just kind of, it stuck. And I'm 42 now, and everybody, there's a lot of people that, never knew my first name. They just knew me as Weez. So when I was thinking about coming up with a name for barbecue, I played drums in a blues band for about 10 years. I love music, so I just kind of came up with, me and a buddy were throwing ideas around, and I came up with Weez's Groovin BBQ, and it kind of, entailed my nickname that everybody knows me for, and then it kind of, the Groovin kind of added in the music part of it with the barbecue, and that's kind of where it landed, and that's it, So
do you cook by yourself, or do you have any partners?
No, I cook by myself. I don't. I've had a few buddies show up a few times to kind of just help with a few things and stuff like that. I'm very capable of cooking with other people. Definitely when pigs fly last month, when me and Zach and Josh Hess and Alan all cooked together. That's the first time I've cooked with that many guys, and it went pretty smooth. We didn't really have a timeline. We just kind of, I never cooked on a pellet grill, and I tell you that we just kind of jived together and worked together, and it worked out. It worked out good. But besides that, I think running my own program, it would be hard to bring in a teammate at this point, just because it's kind of, you get used to doing things your way, and with the way that I cook, I sleep in a tent, and I kind of got my own thing I'm doing. So if I brought in a teammate, I don't know how that would change, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. My buddy Mark Haskins from C&M Barbecue, who lives up here by me, he just cooked in Nebraska out there. He took second in chicken out there. If I was the team with anybody, it would be him, but he works he works construction. So during the summer, he can't really cook. He cooks a couple events in the winter, and that's it. But me and him have kicked the idea around about it, but it's just he can't, I'm available in the summer, he's not, and then in the winter it's kind of, so.
So how did that, I'm gonna add Brian, he's trying to get on here. How did the When Pigs Fly go? Is that was half People's Choice, half judging, or?
Yeah. So it was, there was, I think, 8 teams that cooked under the Champions Cup, which, they had their coaches, whether it was Heath Riles or I think Myron, I forgot who else. I know Bob was down there. Hey Girl Hey was down there. I forgot who else. There were several other people down there. Croy Valley was down there with the team. They kind of competed against each other, and then there was 10 teams that competed in the People's Choice. So the 10 of us competed against each other, and it was 50% People's Choice and then 50% judged by the Championship Cup team. So we had to turn in, what was it, five or six samples to each team. I think it would end up being like 40 samples we had to turn in, little slices. So that's how that turned out, So I mean, that was fun. It was a blast. It was one of those, like I said, it was a lot of first, and there was a lot of, got to meet a lot of new people down there. And like I said, anytime you go cook and meet people and hang out, and we had a heck of a time on Saturday night hanging out in the lobby of the hotel, and it was a good time. And you know how that is. You go to a competition, the cooking's fun, but when you get to hang out, it's kind of that's when you can just relax and not have to worry about anything else.
Now, your setup inspired me. I bought one of those in the off season. I don't think it's the same exact one, but it's kind of the cube, and you could do the screened in or the solid thing. So I'm gonna probably try that for some comps this summer.
Yeah, that was I used the tent. So 2 seasons ago, I used a tent that was given to us, and it worked fine. And then back in March when I went out to Virginia to cook, I was trying to set up, and it was raining, and one of the arms broke on it. So by the time it stopped raining, I don't know how much water was in the tent, and I just, as much as I was using it, it wasn't going to last long. So I started kind of looking around, and when I saw that cube, hooks up just 2 by 10, a 10 by 10, it worked out great. You can put it up, and I mean, you saw me put it up. You can put it up in 5 minutes and break it. It breaks down in 10 minutes. It's a lot easier than a tent. And, like I said, it just kind of, believe it or not, even with my little space heater in there, I never, I slept out when it was 30 degrees. I just put that little space heater on and got under, my sleeping bag. And I mean, there was mornings I didn't want to crawl from underneath the sleeping bag because it was so cold in there, but it wasn't too bad,
Mark, yes, he can. He's kicked my butt a few times on, definitely in chicken. So I thought I had a good chicken cook, and he 180 chicken that day. So that kind of put me in my place real fast. So the next question, are you cooking the American Royal Backyard this year? This is just my curiosity of a question.
I am not. I was scheduled to go back out and cook in Virginia, out in Urbana out there. It's a triple they have. I was going to go cook that and then come back and cook Iowa like I did last year. But my wife and kids are going down to Florida for vacation. And last year I blew off that vacation to go cook. And then I ended up cooking like 23 events last year. So this year I am going to forego that, and we're going to drive down to Florida and spend a week in Orlando. And, kind of one of the things I'm trying to focus more on this year is, last year my wife kind of let me run wild and, cook everywhere. So this year it's kind of I'm picking my spots. I'm doing more catering, doing more things like that. So that's kind of where I'll be that weekend, But yeah, if I was going to cook that weekend, it would be in Urbana because it's a fun contest. A lot of good guys. The East Coast guys, obviously, we know those guys. There's a lot of big teams out there, so it's always good to go out there and cook. But it's a great event. Hopefully next year I'll be able to go back out there. So.
Have you qualified for the Invitational this year already?
Yes. Yep.
Are you cooking that one, depending on where they have it?
I don't care where it's at. I'll go cook it.
I'm hoping to get that one.
Yeah.
On my list too, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm a truck driver, dude. So it don't really matter to me, man. So like I said, it's I think last year I put on 18,000 miles on my personal car and whatever I put on at work. So it doesn't for me to drive somewhere doesn't really matter, and I got friends all over the country. So I kind of, I'm one of the guys that'll, if you tell me to call you when I'm in town, if I need a place to stay, I'm the guy that calls you 3 months later, trying to find a place to stay.
You'll be in town this weekend, won't you?
No, I won't be in town until March.
When what are you doing with Casey Grilling?
That's the first weekend in March.
Okay.
We're doing that class. So I'll be down there Thursday afternoon until Monday morning. So
that class is really cool.
It does. You're staying at DeWitt's, right? He opened his door for you?
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
I usually stay at DeWitt's when I'm there. And I mean, I've been there enough now that his big dog Capone stays with me, stays in the bed with me. They push the stairs up to the bed and he sleeps with me. So, but yeah, that's gonna be a fun weekend. I was pretty to say I was honored that when Kane reached out and asked me if I wanted to be kind of part of that. You know what I mean? I mean, and the idea of the class and what we're going to be doing, you know, kind of a true backyard, you know, cooking under a tent, no electricity, and you know, things like that. You know, like so, it's, you know, like I said, I don't know if it's necessarily I'm going there for my cooking experience. It's more for how I live at competitions. You know, it's still kind of primitive. You know, but.
So what made you get into competition barbecue, and how long have you been competing?
So this past year was my second, I would say, full season. I did 9 competitions 2 years ago. Then I went from 9 to, I think it was close to 23 last year. But I think it was about 3 years ago. I just started barbecuing and cooking. You know, I'm 42. I didn't cook a steak until I was like 38 years old. You know, because I always lived in apartments up here in Chicago, so couldn't have a grill. You couldn't really do anything. You know, so when me and my wife bought a house, she bought me one of the Weber Kettle Deluxe. So I just kind of started messing around with cooking, and you know, my family's all from the South, so I was raised by people that could cook. I just, you know, when you live up here, you know, not that I live in Chicago, I live north of Chicago, but like, you know, there's apartments everywhere, you know, so I just always, you know, being young, I didn't really cook much. And I just started cooking, and then I had my buddy John Onett was talking about how you can cook on a Weber kettle. I'm like, how do you smoke on a Weber kettle? You know, and then he kind of showed me you put charcoal to one side, you put, you know, 3 racks of rib and a rack over here, or pork butt, or, you know, and then my buddy Jeff Foy, I had ribs. I was never a fan of ribs. I tried his ribs, and it was, you know, different than the stuff you're getting at, you know, barbecue restaurants and, you know, Chili's baby back ribs and all that stuff like that. It was just, you know, a lot of times I'd have ribs that people would make, they were chewy, you know, I didn't get it, you know, like I didn't understand why people liked ribs. But then when I tried his, I was like, man, how do you make these? So I kind of just started dabbling with that. And, you know, first time I tried cooking a pork butt, I put it on about 2:00 in the afternoon. And, you know, that was, let's see, I was up at 4 a.m. in my underwear outside, taking it off and wrapping it. You know, I thought we were going to have it for dinner that night. You know, Sunday night, we didn't have it till Monday night. And then that just kind of snowballed into that. And I was watching cooking videos, and I came across an old video someone shot at the American Royal. And I'm like, man, you know, that'd be kind of cool to check that out. Just to, you know, it seemed cool, everybody hanging out and just the family atmosphere of it. And then I ran into guy named Steve Ionarone from SI2 Barbecue. Didn't really know him. He invited me to come down to Indiana for a cook. I went down not having a clue what competitions was about. I just showed up, kind of helped him out. And then, you know, that led me to meeting a lot of other guys. And that kind of led me into meeting the barbecue bus. And about 4 months later, I drove the bus down to the Invitational, and was at Shawnee, Kansas, I think it was. And then that's kind of where it took off. You know, I kind of hung around the bus, you know, for about a year, you know, between my doing backyards and, you know, going with them. And I got a great opportunity to, you know, even though I never helped them cook, just being around them and kind of watching how they work. And, you know, there's a big difference when you get to try good food, you know, then you kind of know what it's supposed to taste like. So, but that's kind of my, you know, into just cooking, you know, cooking backyard, you know, is kind of, that's my story. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, who has been your biggest inspiration? Would it be the barbecue bus?
yeah, I mean, seeing, you know, I had told Brian before that, you know, watching him and Brendan cook, you know, my son's 3.5, and I just said it, you know, it'd be cool that, you know, I keep cooking when my son gets old enough, you know, where he helps me at home. And I mean, anybody that's friends with me on Facebook sees that he's already seasoning pork butts, and, you know, he sees, you know, we'll be at Walmart and he'll see a grill and say roll smoke. You know, he knows, you know, he kind of knows that. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say, you know, the you know, being around the barbecue bus and seeing their success and how they how meticulous that, Brian and Brendan are, seeing that. Obviously, Scotty Johnson's kind of part of that team. So just talking to those guys, Paul Buob from Smoking Ghost. I mean, he was truly the first guy I met in competition barbecue. I showed up to a competition in Kenosha, north of where I live, like 3-4 years ago. I didn't know anybody. I just saw there was a competition there, and I was wandering around, and I saw Paul out in his trailer and introduced myself. He let me come in and check everything out. And, not in a million years would I have thought 3 years later I'd be sponsored by, Paul, when I, like I said, it was just kind of a small world, but I would say guys like that, obviously my friendship with, DeWitt and Ryan Kane and those guys, seeing, talking to those guys. So, I mean, there's a lot of inspirations, but like I said, being around the barbecue bus and kind of seeing what they do is definitely a big inspiration,
And Paul, we've had Ghost on here. He seems like he does seem like a really good guy.
Yeah. Paul's he's great, dude. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I like to talk and I ask a million questions. So, I'm in the midst of setting up my catering business and, all the business side of it. And Paul, here I answer the phone whenever I call and have questions about anything doing that kind of, on that side of the business. I mean, even as far as barbecuing and cooking and stuff too, like I said, he's a great all around guy. And anybody that, asks for help or needs anything, Paul's always there to help out.
So what is your favorite contest to cook of all of them?
I mean, to this point, my favorite was cooking in Tahlequah last year. The one that Nick puts on down there, Nick Davis. Mm-hmm. It was great. I mean, it was a great little venue. Obviously, being around, it was just backyard guys, so that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? It was, we all kind of knew each other. The hanging out, the doing the dinner, breakfast. I mean, it was, like I said, I really enjoyed that. Nick put on a great competition. Unfortunately, it's only a single this year, so it's a long way for me to drive for just a single. If it was a double, I would probably look at it. But I would say Tahlequah was probably my favorite so far. As much as I've enjoyed cooking the invitational and stuff like that, I mean, Tahlequah, just the drive down, the trip down. I stopped through Kansas City on the way down and the way back, and but that's probably my favorite.
I saw you and Zach and Hess went to like the same dang restaurant like 4 different times, I think.
Oh yeah, the little Cajun restaurant down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't Nick adding a Masters to it too? It's not just a backyard this year.
Yeah,
right?
He's doing it's a rib burn Friday night, and then he's doing a Masters and a backyard on Saturday. So.
And it got moved to August too, or something, didn't it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's moved. I almost want to say it's the first weekend in August or October. Sorry. And usually the first Saturday in October, we do a big event out here at the barbecue store, and I usually cook that. That's kind of the big reason I get sponsored out here, because we go out there and cook for about 300 people. So I go out there, we roll out there about 3 a.m. and still cook old school. I cook all the pork butts out there, and last year we had a pretty good year raising money for the local sports teams and stuff. So.
That's right, because you were doing that during the Royal last year.
Yeah, so fortunately this year the Royal falls on the weekend before it, so I'll be down at the Royal this year. So I'll be down there probably for all 5 days, hanging out and helping the guys at Casey Grilling Company probably.
Well, you've been there with the bus. I haven't cooked it. It's on my bucket list to cook, but I haven't cooked it yet.
Yeah. I feel the Royal is something you definitely need a guy or two to kind of help that with just how big it is and the turn-ins and everything else like that, so.
Especially the walk, when it could be 4.5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
When I was looking at like not even where Bum was, but like where guys on the very, very ends, on both ends, which I guess the judging got moved closer to one end than it used to be, but like trying to think who was even on that far end, but even like where Tuffy's at and where some of them guys still had a pretty good walk.
Yeah. I know when I went down with the bus, I think it was almost a 4.5 minute walk, because I ran blocker for Caitlin. I mean, it was, I think a lot of them boys never seen a guy this size move that quick, you know. But you know, the only thing about the Royal, I know at first there was a lot of people that like we were trying to go up and turn in. And there was someone trying to take pictures of us trying to turn in. I think that lasted about one turn in, and by the next turn in, KCBS did a great job to kind of clear everybody out. You know, basically said if you want pictures, you take them after turn ins. You can't be blocking people from trying to, you know, turn your box in because you know it's a 4.5, 5 minute walk there. So by the time you get back, you know, take a little breather and get ready to run your next box. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing about that contest. It's pretty bad when you got to have blockers, not only just people turning. You got to have blockers to block for people turning.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody talks about that contest. That is a one of a kind contest.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to this year. Like I said, as soon as I saw, I think it was about a week ago, I saw that our calendar didn't fall, you know, for our cook out here at the store that weekend. That the Royal was the weekend before, so I immediately shot out a couple texts and said, you know, looks like I'll be down there this year, you know, because it's definitely a fun time. So,
so how did last season go? I think you did pretty decent in Team of the Year, if I remember right.
Yeah, I finished up until like the last 2 weeks. I was first in ribs, you know. And then the East Coast guys, you know, I think they did about 7 or 8 comps the last 3 weekends. Which I was messing around with Ham Squad. I told him next year I'm just going to save up, just go and live out on the East Coast in October and just cook all the events with those guys out there. But I finished second in ribs and then 10th in chicken. So
Backyard in the East Coast is insane as far as the amount of teams they have. It is ridiculous. Like it's nothing to have more backyard teams than Master Series teams at a contest. I see on Pennsylvania or somewhere out there was like 60 teams in their backyard.
Yeah. I'm looking. There's a big another big event. I think it's the weekend of the 20th or 21st of April in Jersey. I'm looking at maybe going out to, but that's the same. It's a single chicken, single rib, and then it's a double backyard, double pro. So it's what they call the campground series out there. So I've been looking at maybe going out there and, you know, cooking. So, yeah, because this year I'm doing that, and then I think I'm going down to Osage to cook. So besides that, everything else is going to be around kind of this area, bringing home the bacon. You know, like I said, I'm trying to, you know, reel in my competitions because last year was kind of, you know, I could definitely see why my wife got upset.
Yeah, that's kind of, I've always looked at them and yeah, that's just kind of the amount I want to cook versus the amount I realistically cook is usually 2 different numbers. My biggest thing is getting off work on like Fridays and all that. It's my biggest thing for contests.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky with work. I've been there for over 21 years, so a lot of times they're pretty. I mean, you know, my boss is at work. My boss at work buy barbecue from me, so I mean, they're pretty supportive of what I do. So I'm pretty lucky. I don't have to burn a lot of vacation time when I'm doing that. You know what I mean? But I mean, as soon as my son's a little older, you know, if he has fun, I mean, I'll definitely take him with me to some of the competitions. This year, I'm taking him to a couple of the one-day competitions around here where you just set up in the morning of and cook. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, because I figure I could deal with him for a day, but, you know, taking him to Jersey for 4 days, I don't know how that'll work, you know?
No, not at his age. You were at the one contest my son didn't go with me. Otherwise, he always goes with me to my contest. But he's also 10, and that's a little different than what's your son, 2?
It's 3.5.
3.5. So, yeah, it's a little bit of attention difference.
Yeah.
But, you know, Wrecking Crew, you know, barbecue, he told me if I bring him, he'd babysit him for me. So I swear that's what Alan said. I don't know. I'd have to text him, but I'm pretty sure he said he'd watch him for me.
Okay, I'm just going to say it. After meeting Alan and seeing some of the stuff Alan does, I'm not sure. That guy cracks me up. He like nothing is serious. I met him at the Royal. I walked by to go to the bathroom. He looks at me and he goes, "We're going to do the Wheel of Death." And I came over and we did a shot at whatever was spun on the wheel. And when
pigs fly, I had to drag them out of because we were staying at one hotel and then like all the other guys, DeWitt, Kane, all those guys were at the other one. So Saturday night we went over there and we're hanging out, and I had to pull him out of there, and he's like, one more beer. But he wanted something to eat. I said, you either get one more beer or you get White Castle. What do you want? And I want White Castle. So he went and got White Castle like 1 o'clock in the morning and set up in his, set in the hotel room. And surprised Zach didn't come out of his room because, we weren't the quietest at all. So, but yeah, he's a good dude.
The funniest thing, and I don't know if you saw it, was what he put on Facebook with like,
oh yeah,
the bed and the rose and the.
Yeah, I was the one that took the picture. You should have seen what I looked like behind the camera.
Oh Lordy, that picture, it just cracked me up. So, what is on your barbecue bucket list that you have not achieved or done? Are you going to cook a master series one of these days? Is that on your list or?
Yeah, me and so, I guess you say I cooked one Masters, but I cooked the Open with Ryan Kane and Eric. We cooked under Kane's name, but Kane came up with a great design. We were called Piggy Stardust. So we cooked that competition together. I kind of helped with pork, and obviously we all kind of pitched in doing things. Obviously Kane was running his recipes because I got 872 rib sauce recipes. I change every week. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at maybe end of August up here. It's called Death's Door. Me and my buddy Scott from Stone Cold Grillers, we've talked about cooking a pro series or two together, just splitting up the proteins or whatever. And he's sponsored by Ace Hardware. I'm sponsored by 301 Boys. So I told him we should call ourselves 3 Aces High Barbecue to kind of, implement
I like that.
both our sponsors. But me and him were talking about doing a couple events. We talked about maybe doing Belvedere out here, but unfortunately it sounds like this year Belvedere is not going to be around at Heritage Days. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to look at doing a pro comp or two, but with me, I don't have a trailer. I carry both my cans on a little platform on the back of my 4Runner, and I fit everything in there. So if I was to ever go pro, like it just, I like cooking a lot, so like if I went pro, I'd have to rent a trailer. I'd have to bring 2 more smokers. I mean, I would really cut down, the amount of cooking that I would do. And just even as far as brisket money and all that stuff like that, I mean, anybody that knows me knows I don't have, I'm not rich by no means, but I'm lucky that, Scott from 301 Boys, who I've partnered with, and, he's kind of the big reason I'm able to cook because, with him just kind of covering what he covers for me, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, if I had to do this all on my own, I mean, it would be, I definitely couldn't afford to do that. So,
I'm tossing around cooking the Open Master Series when I go to the Invitational next year. I haven't, because part of me said that's a long way to go to just cook 2 meats on one day versus if I'm going to make the trip, I want to cook. So I don't know.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you do what a lot of guys, kind of what I did. I mean, I reached out to Ryan. We basically split the cost of everything. Whatever it was. The proteins, everything. We split the cost. Whatever the winnings were, it was all 50-50. Kind of thing, and it makes it a lot easier. I know that Alan from Wrecking Crew, Andy, and then the Seafood Boys, Furlong Seafood and Smoke. Yeah. They all cook together. So a lot of guys kind of paired up to cook together. The Open, makes it a little cheaper and a little more feasible financially. So
that's probably the route I'll end up taking.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing to cook if it's not for a contest?
Biscuits and gravy, dude.
Biscuits and gravy.
Oh yeah.
I've seen pictures. It looks like you can throw down some biscuits.
Yeah, I do. Homemade biscuits and gravy, dude. I like Biara tacos, dude. I'm really big into cooking that, on the griddle and stuff. I don't know. I guess I don't really have a favorite of anything. I love tacos. So there's weeks where, I'll make tacos 3 or 4 nights. I'll make chicken and cook it all different ways. One night it'll be buffalo chicken tacos. The next night it'll be Cajun chicken tacos, or so I really enjoy that. But I'm a big breakfast guy, so anytime I can throw down biscuits and gravy, I eat this weird combination of scrambled eggs with cream style corn on top of it. Some
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't know anybody else that does that, but that's that Southern Kentucky, West Virginia thing where my grandparents used to eat a lot of that stuff because they were raised back in the with not a lot of money. So when I was raised by them, we ate a lot of the cornbread and drink buttermilk and a lot of the stuff, especially up north. People look at you weird when you buy buttermilk and they ask you if you're using it for cooking. You're like, well, yeah, cooking and drinking, but it tastes better after it's been open for 2 or 3 days.
So I'm surprised you weren't a chef by trade. It seems like you enjoy cooking more than anything else.
Yeah, I definitely do now. Like I said, it's I've been driving truck for 22 years now or whatever it is, and I just kind of came into enjoying cooking, and now if I see something, I'll read about it. Not that it tastes the best or whatever, but I'll attempt to cook anything. I just entered that Lodge is having their contest. They just closed for the cornbread cook-off. They're choosing 10 people, and they're gonna. I think it's April 29th. You go down by Chattanooga. It's some cornbread festival, and top prize is like $5,000 and like a stove and all this other stuff. So I don't know. I entered that. I was off work Friday, and I figured, what the hell. So I entered that. I don't know when they're going to let us know or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, it's little stuff like that, cook at home and, kind of keeps me at home and, not running around spending money like barbecue competitions.
So do you have any homemade rubs or sauces that you do?
So rubs, I don't really mess around with too much. When I first started, just like everybody, I just had a basic rub my buddy made. And then once I kind of started, tasting other rubs and tasting other things, to me, it's just, why would I mess with that when someone else has already perfected it, So I kind of use all the commercial stuff at home. I've messed with sauces a little bit. I make an Alabama white sauce that I've looked at, bottling at some point. It's kind of a little different because a lot of people up here like the Alabama sauce, but some of the restaurants around, it's very mayo forward. So when I started looking at recipes, I kind of combined a few, and I sent some down with Kane and DeWitt. And they liken it to like a spicy ranch almost. So you don't really get a lot of the mayo out of it. So like it.
That'd probably be something I like, because that's one thing about white sauce I don't like is the mayo, heavy mayo on it.
Yeah. I do the horseradish in there, like a little bit of lemon juice, kind of mess around with it with that. And I've made sauces, I had a blueberry stout that I got. I made a blueberry barbecue sauce. I made a Dr. Pepper. Like, it's just stuff. It's nothing that I think I would ever bottle, but it's just fun to mess around with at home and taste stuff. But when you got stuff like Smoking Ghost or JDQ and Heath Ryle stuff and Butcher stuff, when you're trying all this stuff, it's kind of pointless to me to waste time making rubs when I could just throw it in and make money selling my food with their rubs in it. So one of the big rubs I've been using a lot is the You're Behind Barbecue, Kyle, his mango chipotle. I don't know if you guys have tried that, but that is just killer on turkey and chickens and stuff. And then I started using his green chili bacon rub, and that's kind of what I throw down in my mac and cheese. So
didn't you put that on a pizza once?
I put it on pizza. I put it on baked potatoes. Yeah, I kind of experiment with all that stuff. Just like this weekend, I cooked that pizza and I took DeWitt's sausage and I cut it and I basically made a homemade pizza with DeWitt's jalapeno cheddar sausage on there. So
yeah,
I've heard that's really good. I need to try that.
It is pretty good.
Yeah, that's what just like the cornbread I made. I took his sausage, sauteed it with some onions and green peppers and stuff, and I made a stuffed cornbread with his jalapeno cheddar, and I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. My wife didn't want to eat it as soon as I put all that stuff in there. She's very picky. So,
Yeah. So do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously you see behind me, I'm at the barbecue store, 301 Boys Barbecue Supply up here in Johnsburg, Illinois. There's not very many barbecue supply stores up. I mean, we're pretty much the only one up here, Scott is he's a retired police officer, and we kind of just, hit it off. I came out here and started buying some stuff from him, and then I did a few demos, and now I'm kind of the hype guy. I bring a lot of the sauces and rubs in, and we carry a lot of stuff that, we kind of pride ourselves on not, carrying things that other stores carry around here, whether it's Walmart or Jewel or, Ace Hardware's, because, we really can't compete. Obviously, when they're buying 40 pallets of stuff, we can't really compete with that. So it's kind of nice. We got a little bit, a little niche here where, we carry, a lot of comp guys that are starting to shop here because, we carry the, like I said, JDQ, we're the only ones around here carry JDQ, Smoking Ghost, all that kind of stuff. So this is probably my, best friend now. We spend a lot of time talking on the phone. Both our wives just look at us because, we geek out about barbecue. Smoking Ghost, Paul Buab, obviously, huge part of my barbecue. And I'm going down next weekend to help him teach a barbecue backyard rib and pork class down by his house. So Ghost, you got JDQ, obviously everybody knows Josh DeWitt. I was lucky enough to kind of strike it off with him and have him back me. He's been huge in my success. Wichita Packing, I use their ribs. If I need pork for a contest, Wichita's been great. Willie's Honey, local honey place around here, great honey. And then Butcher's Barbecue as well. I just teamed up with them about a month ago. David's got some great stuff. And and then Trauma Hawks too. I've been using, I wouldn't say I'm sponsored by them, but I definitely use the hell out of their SPG. I use that for a lot of just day-to-day cooking, making garlic bread or, so, but yeah, that's kind of my little list of sponsors there.
So have you thought about cooking in any other sanctioning bodies?
It's funny, me and Josh Hess were just texting about maybe going down and taking a sausage class down in Texas. And I told him if we were down there, we should look at cooking something in the Champions Barbecue League down there. So I would like to go to Texas and try cooking. MBN would be kind of cool to, just maybe do ribs or pork or something like that. But I definitely would like to do that. I cooked SCA once, and that's always kind of maybe an option. If you downsize, it's a lot easier to cook an SCA than it is to cook a KCBS or any other stuff. You show up and set a table up and you cook a steak and go home the same night. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely other things I want to do out there over the next few years. So
I always thought
Nice.
Indian would be fun, but you definitely have to cook a lot more meat, I think, at an MBN contest if you cook ribs or pork, especially Memphis in May.
Yeah. I'm hoping to make it down to Memphis in May this year. So I got an opportunity if I can make my way down there, I got an opportunity to kind of hang out with the team and see what goes on down there. So I'm still trying to put the details together, but I'm hoping to, because I was going to cook Minnesota in May, but obviously if I get an opportunity to go down to Memphis in May, then I'm going to be going down there to, experience that, so especially from what I hear from everybody that cooks down there, it's kind of one of the big granddaddies of them,
Yeah. So what's your favorite barbecue restaurant to eat at?
So around me here, my buddy Big Ed, love his barbecue. I mean, he's, great cook. Like I said, it's he's got great burn ends. His brisket's great. His mac and cheese. I was lucky enough. I was in his restaurant, BSing with him not too long ago, and he was prepping mac, and I kind of asked him, I said, how the hell you make all this mac and it doesn't coagulate, it doesn't separate, or so I was lucky enough. He told me a little bit of the insider secrets of it, so that's kind of why I took it home and changed up what I was doing for mac and cheese, and it's been, great. But yeah, he's got good food. I stopped at Heavy Smoke. Last time I took a trip from Denver to St. Louis for work, I stopped at Heavy Smoke, and that was absolutely incredible. I had the glutton or whatever they call it. And that was just, I needed to take a nap after I was done down there. So, well, besides that, I haven't, Kansas City, obviously I've been around all the restaurants down there, but I'm hoping to hit up Chef Jay's place when I come down in March, because seeing all the pictures and all the videos on there, looks like that place is just fire. So, but.
So what are your plans for the future? You're just going to do more I noticed you said you're starting caterings.
Yeah, I'm kind of pushing the catering business, trying to build that up, because at some point it would be nice to drive truck part-time and kind of cook barbecue full-time. I'm looking at I just got 2 of the La Cocina pig roaster boxes from my buddy Phil from Port Mafia. Was lucky enough to gift me a couple of those, so I'm kind of looking at doing some on-site cooking, some live fire cooking. I just to me, I think that's kind of the experience. For my catering, I'm trying to keep it more of a craft barbecue thing. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at, I would never want to open a restaurant. I don't have any, there's, I wouldn't want to do any of that. But, to me, I would really like to get into cooking on site, cooking private parties and things like that. Cause I just think I like the experience of that. I guess it's kind of like being at a competition. That's different than kind of cooking at home. It's just, so I'm definitely planning on doing more of that. Like I said, I got about 9 to 11 comps I have looking at this year. A couple more doubles, and besides that, man, just kind of geeking out on barbecue, helping build up the barbecue store out here. Me and Scott's got some big plans in the next few years, and I'm hoping to be part of that. So definitely went from cooking ribs in my backyard to where I wish I could make barbecue my full-time job. But not many guys get to do that full-time.
No.
Nope.
No.
So,
well, Brian, do you have anything for him? Any questions?
Yeah. Let's get some Sofa King barbecue rubs up in your store.
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for new stuff. So like I said, we can off air. If you want to exchange addresses or whatever, like I said, we definitely we're always looking for new products out here and stuff. So
yeah, I'll PM you. I'll PM you about it, but it'll be after February 16th. I'm going down to NBBQA. They said I got a ton of awards coming again, so
awesome.
I got to make a new little label for everything.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I met those guys at when pigs fly.
Yeah.
Down. So
yeah, they're pretty cool. We went to Virginia, my brother's Thanksgiving, and I told him, I go, for me to go to Orlando, the wife said I have to win at least 3 awards just to let me go. So they sent me an email saying, oh, I doubled that. Now it's paying $5,000 to go down because everyone wants to go to Disney.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think when we go to Orlando, I don't know if we're doing Disney or just kind of hanging on the beach. I don't know what we're doing yet. So
yeah,
but yeah,
it'll be fun.
Definitely looking forward. I haven't tried any of your stuff, so like I said, I'm all, for me, I'm I do all the test cooking and all the kind of stuff like that for the store. Like I tell everybody, Scott makes the final decision. I'm just the hype guy. He's got to reel me in sometimes, but like I said, I'm
well, I'll get your address off air and I'll send you a little package.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
That pineapple chipotle is even good on ramen, just letting you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
I keep a bottle at my work for when I make ramen. I throw it on there.
Yeah, I bet you that'd be good on some pizza.
It would be good.
It's good on a lot of stuff. Our Mexican, I put on our eggs all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll send you a little care package. I'll get all your stuff. I'll PM, send you a message and all that.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So,
sounds great.
And hopefully I see you at the Royal this year. I know because I help Weekend Bum out a lot, and I got a guy that wants me to cook with him, but I had to go back and tell them both it's my wife's birthday, so I have to walk on eggshells to be able to get down there Saturday to stay the night.
Yep.
Well, tell her it's a business trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm definitely planning on coming down. Like I said, I'll probably be down there that Wednesday morning of to help set up and kind of be there the whole weekend. So it's like I said, I was bummed last year when I saw everybody down there having fun, but obviously, you know, cooking the event, you know, we cooked that event last year. It was the second year we've cooked it. The first year we did it, you know, I think we had about 10 pork butts left, or I mean, whatever it was last year. I mean, I cooked beans last minute. I'm like, yeah, we'll just do beans and pulled pork. And 10 minutes into it, you know, I looked at Scott. I'm like, oh, I should have cooked more beans. I mean, for 3.5 hours, we never didn't have a line. You know, at one point it was 40 people in line trying to get food. So it was very rewarding to see that kind of stuff, you know. So
Oh yeah. I love standing there because we never did. Well, Kevin never lets me do any of the sides or anything. So I love just walking up to turn-ins and I stand there, stare at all the desserts, going, "Holy cow!"
no, well, you have to talk Kevin to let you do that.
I keep trying.
I'll send him a text.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on tonight.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me out, man. I'm glad it worked. I'm glad it worked out. Like I said, with the Chiefs playing on Sunday, that's why I kind of said, you know what, you probably just better moving it completely out of the way. You know what I mean?
That's what I figured. Otherwise, you'd have probably heard us preview a few times while I was doing this. So
Brad and I were kind of talking. We're like, man, we're gonna have the tube on and probably some cuss words come out. And should we? We just need to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I need to reschedule. But like I said, thank you for coming on. It was good talking barbecue with you.
Yeah, definitely. And then hopefully I see you guys in March. You know, if you guys are out hanging out or whatever. Like I said, I'll be down there for 3 days. So
if not, we'll see you at Top soon. So
yeah, I'm 2 blocks away from KC Grilling, so I might just swing by up there.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So
sounds good.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
for coming on.
Yeah,
all right,
talk
have
to
a
you
good one.
later.
See ya.
Yep, later.